So, welcome everybody to the very first virtual student leadership conference for Mesa. Um, my name is Tom Ahn, and I'm the executive director of the statewide office of Mesa here in Oakland at the University of California Office of the President. Kind of an interesting time to get together. I don't know about you, but I've been getting, maybe 3 or 4 hours of sleep a night following along with the election results as they trickle in. But it looks like we're getting closer to clarity, so that's great. I hope that all of you guys are doing okay. I hope all of you that are eligible to vote have voted, and that you and your loved ones are safe. That's going to be a factor throughout the next few weeks, at least. I mean, obviously COVID's going to be a factor for, I don't know how long, but we hope that we can still have an eventful and informative, really engaging conference here for you. And we're going to start today with a presentation from a very good friend of ours. The Jumpstart platform itself, we're not just using this for the purposes of the conference. We're actually, if it were just a conference, there are actually better platforms for doing a multi-day, multi-session conference. But we're using Jumpstart because it's a platform that enables us to connect students directly with recruiters from different companies. It's a recruitment platform similar to Handshake, which some of you might be familiar with, but Jumpstart is actually multi-campus, and it's also kind of unique in that it offers features like the community, where you as a student or we as staff or recruiters can post information, ask questions, conduct events, large and small, and it's hopefully going to be the platform that we use moving forward for all of our career development and career engagement activities. So that's why we're using the Jumpstart platform. Speaking of corporations, we would like to acknowledge some of our wonderful sponsors. Southern California Edison, VMware, and PG&E have, even despite all the goings on with COVID-19, they've devoted resources to us and to this conference. We also want to thank all of our industry guests and volunteers who are participating as well, folks who are putting on webinars and serving on panels and conducting one-on-one informational interviews. So stay tuned at the end of the session, and I'll give you a quick overview of the rest of the agenda for today, as well as for the other Fridays coming up. I want to now go ahead and introduce our presenter here. Pham, some of you who've come to student leadership conferences last year and in the past might be familiar with him already. I know some of the directors have given me feedback saying like, oh, we're really excited to see Vu again. He's the chair of Elevate, which is a company that he is, I think, the founder of and the owner of. And what Vu and Elevate, what they do is they work with dozens of organizations from Fortune 500 to government and nonprofit agencies. The program boosts organizational performance and strategic effectiveness through interactive training and data-driven research. They do a lot of work with companies' ERGs, which are employee resource groups, to advance issues around diversity and inclusion and equity. So we're very excited to have him with us. Pham, a man with boundless energy and a very large brain. So I'm pleased to welcome Pham to the Student Leadership Conference. Take it away, Vu.
Thank you so much, Tom. And thank you, Mesa staff. Now, I'm going to involve all of you because the energy is not just me, it's us, right? So can you all open up your chat box? You'll see your pop-up menu. If you could actually click on the chat function, open it up, and make sure you click on to all panelists, or to all attendees, right? So not just panelists, but attendees, because we're going to reflect everything you write here in the chat box, because we're going to build this together. So when you open it up, I want to give you a little bit of brain science here, since we got a lot of STEM-based professionals. So did you know that when they did a longitudinal study, one over 30 years and one over 40 years, they tracked high school students, and from graduation, they found that the most optimistic and grateful ones are the ones who live 9 years longer. And remember, the study's 20 years old. These two studies are 20 years old. So that means it might be 10, 11 years by now, because we're all living longer. And so let's say you live on average 9, 10 years longer. And secondly, you make as much as $25,000 more per year on average. And that was 20 years ago. So you got to more than double that. That's probably double, triple by now. But let's just say $50,000 plus. So the more grateful you are, the more optimistic you are, the longer you live, and the more correlated it is with you making more money. It's not a guarantee, but it's a correlation. So I want you to do this. Now that your chat boxes are open, could you all give a big thank you in the chat box? Make sure it's addressed to everybody, to Mesa. And you could use all caps. This is the one time you could yell and use all caps and be okay. I've seen some people put dog gifs and gifs and whatnot. So go ahead, put that in. Awesome. See, this is great to do all caps, especially we're so cooped up, confined to the pandemic. It's time to let the energy out, right? So thank you, Tom, for really having faith in my energy, but I want to have all of your energy as well, and it's our energy. So awesome. Oh, I love that. You are all amazing people. Love, love, love that. All right. And then we're going to give you a bonus, because a lot of times in these presentations, I've been doing presentations with as many as 500 people, right? We've maxed out Zoom. You're going to get a chance to do something cool. Just make sure you're going to get to unmute. Just make sure you mute back after. But can you all unmute right now? Go ahead and unmute. I'm going to let you unmute for a few seconds. Everyone can find the unmute button. So let's unmute. And good, I'm hearing background noise. That's great. It's awesome if you got dogs barking, kids crying, people yelling, whatever it is. Can you all give a big round of applause and also hoot and holler a little bit? Make some noise, because you know what? It's tough talking to a screen. It's tough for Tom and the Mesa people to talk to a silent screen. And let's give a big round of applause and a hoot and holler for the Mesa folks. Let's go ahead and give them a big.
Yeah.
Love it. Love it.
Thank you.
Awesome. So go ahead and mute back now. I just want to really acknowledge Mesa. And this is why this ties in with the purposeful professional. When you're purposeful, and I gave the example of gratitude. I gave you the example of being optimistic. You live longer, you make more money. Life is not about money, but you can have health and wealth, right? Longevity and salary. So why not have both? And that's part of the purposeful professional, is we all started doing this. And I know you've all been probably taking classes online, many of you, if not, all of you. And it is tough, right? It's tough for you, tough for the instructors, but I wanted to add that little bit of purpose, because you know why? When you actually get up and are focused on what you're doing, it's correlated with more. So I want you to now, in the chat box, what is your professional purpose? So what do you want to do professionally? And I want you to go more than get a job. You know what? I hope you all land a job, but you're in high demand as diverse STEM-based professionals. You have very little to worry about. But what do you want to do? Let's assume you're employed. What do you really want to do with your job? I'll just tell you mine. I wear purple because if you actually spell out purpose and people, I like to put purpose and people together. If you take the first 3 letters of purpose, the last 3 letters of people, it actually makes the word purple. That's why our whole company wears purple. I had one of my dear friends and executives at Northwestern Mutual. I presented to one of their diversity groups yesterday, and she wore her purple blazer just for me. We get that, right? We support each other, and that's awesome. So I want to help you find your purpose. I want to help you align and grow. And that's what life is about. You'll live longer, you'll make more money, you'll be happy, you'll have more resources in this time of scarcity, in this time where, look, people are lucky to have jobs. I want you to think life is going to get better tomorrow. Tom's going to get more sleep. hopefully in the next year or two, right? It'll be a while. I've lost sleep too. All of us have. But what's your purpose? So can you go ahead and put in your purpose? Mine is to always help people find their purpose and align it with society, right? And I'm going to work till I die, even as a volunteer. It doesn't matter because I'm not going to retire at 65. I'm going to work till I can't work anymore because I love hearing noise from all of you. So what's your purpose? I love it. Give back to the community. Build robotic prosthetics to help disabled people. That is awesome. I love you. People with disabilities actually can lead to more innovation, not less. If we build products for people who can't walk, who can't see, who can't hear, the products actually get better. Love it. Research that helps people, right? More than being stuck in a lab. Absolutely. Look, a job is just a salary in the end. I love this. And I want you to always remember this. That's why I'm pushing you to not worry about a job. You all have jobs. I want you to look at leaving your mark. Even after you're long gone from this earth, what's your mark and your legacy, right? Helping students navigate the path. I love this as a teacher to make sure math, right? And obstacles and opportunities and doors to the future. I love that, okay? So, so I'm just cherry picking some here, but they're all very important. And I want you to see this because here's what could be nice, Mesa could even save this, right? This transcript and share it with folks. These are things that do not appear on a resume, folks. That's what I want you to know. My star team members in my organization, and it's really our organization, they help build it with me because they're very purpose driven. I do not worry about the ones with the highest IQ. I worry about the ones with the most focused purpose, who really want to make a difference and change. I love this. Energy revolution, right? I see making the environment better because you know what? I love that. If you don't have a planet, you're not going to have people, and therefore you can't have, a purpose. And profit is at the very bottom of the list, folks. Money can be worth nothing. And I will tell you this, I was not born here in the US. I came at 2 years old. I came as a baby toddler from Vietnam, right? War-torn country, end of the Vietnam War, 1975. And you know what? We were lucky to escape with our lives. We all get to vote today, and people are like, oh my gosh, it's horrible voting. You know what, folks? I came from a communist dictatorship, all right? And if you didn't make it out, you would have been in prison, even as a Buddhist monk and educator. My parents are both professors. So they're not politicians. They're not warriors. They are teachers. And my dad would have been in prison for 10, 20 years, like many educators, monks were, right? And others who just spoke for freedom. So exercise your freedom, as Tom said. Hope that you voted. And if you didn't this time, hope that you do it next time. But I want you to think about this. Profit is so meaningless that today we have the Vietnamese dong as the currency in Vietnam. When I was there, it was called the piastre. And if I would escape with a boatload of piastres, which I didn't, I just had my mom tied a little makeshift bottle of water around my neck in case I got separated. So I'd at least have some water at the airport. That's it. And we were lucky to get out of there. And I will tell you, we escaped not for anything but freedom. I wasn't going to die. I would have just had no freedom. And I wouldn't have had a dad with me, right? Just for being an educator. All right. So cherish the purpose. Know that. And that's why I dedicate the rest of my life to doing this. And I hope that you do too. I hope you make a big profit and salary. But back to the piastre is worth nothing. It's a currency. And the root word of currency is current. Well, the piastre is not current. It doesn't exist anymore. So one day, maybe the dollar might not exist. It might be worth nothing. We might be using Bitcoin, right? So I want you to think about that. All right. So I love that. Thank you, Blake. Amen to your American freedom, because that's what it is, right? So know that we are all privileged, no matter who you voted for, no matter where it goes. Your vote counts, your voice counts, and you're not imprisoned. You are not, silenced. So this is your voice, your purpose, and you just added it to this chat. You made this chat 1,000 times better, 1,000,000 times better, because I want you to remember this purpose. Your purpose may change in life, but everything I've read here, you all want to help humanity. You all want to help the planet, whatever it is. Never let go of that. So That's your why. And always remember your why. Your why is not a stable job. Your why is not making more money. Your why is improving things. So your mission statement isn't permanent. Like I said, it could change through life. It's okay. You know what? I'll tell you, I flash back to college. I flash back to even, 5-10 years after college, right? I would have never thought I'd be here today, to accomplish what I have. And what's interesting? When I was younger, I thought, okay, I want to get on CNN, want to get on Forbes, all these media. And I did. I did by, mid-30s, right? You know what happened? I got off of media as much. I don't go on media anymore as much because, it's like just a bucket list. I don't care about fame. I care about purpose. So I do things very quietly now, work with large organizations, work with government to really promote diversity, to really help people get really their voices heard, make more inclusive technology that changes us, right? Really give input. So that's my purpose. It's changed through time, but one thing that's never changed is helping people. So I want you to know that whatever you wrote in the chat box today, it's okay. It will change. So I would have said, well, geez, I accomplished what I wanted to by about 40, 35, certainly by 40, I'm getting closer to 50 than 40 now. And I want you to think about this, which is that I don't know what I'm going to do with the rest of my life, other than keeping on and helping people. So, one of my team members said, well, what if you got $1 billion more? She said, what'd you do with it? I said, I don't know, probably the same thing I'm doing now, because what would I do with $1 billion? I don't spend very much. I love helping people. I love being here. So keep remembering that. Now, let me give you some data on purpose. All right. And also I'm going to be looking to the left of because I've got a large monitor on my left and my laptop is in front of me, but look at that. 79% of business leaders believe in the organization's purpose and that it's central to the business. That's 4 out of 5 think that purpose is central. Now here's the rub. Look at the opposite, but only 60% of business leaders share that their purpose is not used as a guidepost. So look at the disconnect, folks, is that we know business leaders believe that purpose is important, but it's not being used. So there's a giant delta and disconnect if you swing the other way, right? And so grasp that purpose, know what your purpose is, and you will make more change, because I will tell you this, more money continued to come for me the more I stuck to the purpose instead of chasing short-term dollars. When you have that focus, more people came to me. Before I thought, oh my gosh, I'd love to get in executives' doors and be able to appeal to them and to create change. Now I've got so many executives, I don't even call them as much. They come to me for help. I don't even charge them anymore, because here's the thing, folks, it's not all about that. All right, I have enough. What is your purpose? And that's why execs come. That's why leaders come, because they want to recharge their purpose. It's not that I'm smarter than them. It's not that I'm wiser than them. It's because I unlock what's in them. It's not about me. I'm a vitamin. I'm a catalyst, nothing more. And, in a few decades, I'll disappear from this earth. But I hope to multiply and have a lot of people know their purpose. So know that, folks, okay? And look at this. Many of you are millennials or Gen Z, right? But the same applies. That this study shows that millennials are 5.3 times as likely to have a connection, or to stay in the organization if you're connected to the organization's purpose. And I don't think this is just millennials. This just happened to focus on millennials. This is any generation, but it is more millennials. So I really believe in the younger generation so much more, because my parents' generation, they work to survive. They work for a job. They work to put food on the table. They work to give me my freedom. I'm finding more and more that purpose is so critical, but it's the younger generation now. You've got a lot of the luxuries, clean food, clean water, shelter. Now that you are the ones changing companies to go from profit to purpose, profit to planet. Keep going. Keep pushing for that, folks. All right. Now, if you look here, but only 33% of employees really draw meaning. Most are disengaged. All right. So if you look, this is similar to the Gallup study that shows, there's Towers Watson, there's multiple of these employee engagement surveying companies. it's usually roughly about 2/3 to about 70% are disengaged. Believe it or not, folks, you're all very engaged. You may not feel that way sometimes. You may feel discombobulated in this environment. I'm going to tell you, you're here and you don't have to be here at the Mesa conference. You could be, studying school. For those of you who are, this is part of your work, you can actually go back to work. You don't have to be here. The fact is that you don't have to be here. I'm more excited because you are embracing engagement. You're embracing purpose more. And then if you look at it this way, right? So we had not only talked about living 9+ years longer, if you're optimistic, grateful, if that's your purpose, look at that, right? People without purpose are twice as likely to die. And by the way, folks, don't attach your purpose to your job. That's why I've said a job is correlated with a job title and a salary. Many of you are looking at your jobs now. Some of you are directors and in your job, right? Even as highest directors. But I'll tell you this, folks, is it's widely known among human resources data that actually even senior executives, CEOs, major vice presidents, government officials, and executives, that actually, if they're forced to retire, so it's mandatory retirement, not voluntary retirement. If they're forced to retire, typically at age 62 to 65 by policy, right? A lot of companies force their employees, their executives to retire at 65, sometimes as early as 62. They actually, about roughly half of them die after 14 months. You're thinking, why? They have money, they've accomplished a lot in their lives, because you know what? They attach their purpose to their jobs. So you could say they were married to their jobs. Actually, a lot of them got divorced or had multiple marriages, right? They attached purpose more to their work, which is a salary position, than even to their personal lives. They become workaholics to the point where the company says, sorry, by policy, we have to make you retire. They don't need more money. What they want is something to do. And when you actually look at it, folks, it keeps you alive longer. And I want you to look at the opposite. They pass away because they've attached their purpose to their salaried job. Don't do that, folks. Your job is just your salary. That's it. It's a job title. Hopefully by 65, you have more than enough money. Hopefully some of you are retired by 40, right? By 50. What I want to tell you is this, is that's why I am clear. I will never retire. When I say retire, work to do what makes you happy. All right. And we're shifting the paradigm. And I'll give you a little bit of history, actually, when we're finally questioning this retirement concept of 65, right? Last decade or so, did you know retirement is a 19th century concept? It was invented by a gentleman, I can't remember if it was Germany or Austria. You can look it up. His name is Wilhelm, his last name, but he actually came up with the concept of retirement. So if you think about it, for thousands of years, tens of thousands of years of human history, we didn't retire or work a salary position. We just existed till we died, till we couldn't feed each other, till we couldn't survive. Maybe a leg broke, right? Maybe we couldn't move anymore, and eventually we starved, we died of diseases, whatnot, natural causes, whatnot, right? So when you think about it, this concept of retirement is really only, less than 200 years old. It's crazy, folks. So don't box yourself in with retirement. Look at purpose. And if you're, about to try to get a job, I know it's a pandemic, don't worry. It gets better. And do not tie your lives around a salaried job. Have a purpose. Always remember what you wrote in this chat box at the beginning of this presentation. Here's an example now. Let's not look at high salaried STEM-based employees. All right. I want you to look at zookeepers and aquarium workers. And actually some, quite a few actually have pretty high degrees. Okay. They are, you've got some zoologists, right? Very smart people, but they have these things on the right. Look at the right there, bad paid, right? They're poorly paid, offered little career advancement, and they're cleaning up poop, folks. They are cleaning up poop of animals. yet they love their jobs. All right. So what I want you to think about is, can you all write in the chat box? So I'm going to ask all of you, what is the one thing you love, whether you're in college or whether you're in a current job? What is the one thing you love in what you're doing with your day-to-day work, whatever it is, whether you're a full-time student or full-time working professional? I love that, helping students. Thank you. Supporting each other. And I want to hear from everybody, right? So let's make this chat great. Wonderful. Each day is rich in differences. Excellent. Building tools to make life easier. Absolutely. When you're long gone, your tools will make life easier. All right. Excellent. Learning new skills and learning through mistakes. You know what? One thing is certain, we are going to keep making mistakes, and you can keep learning until you die, right? So life is wonderful when you think about it. Love it. Okay. Being creative, making technology accessible. Wow. If you're doing that now, that's awesome. Okay. Sense of accomplishment. And you know what? You know, the old saying, right? If you get out of bed in the morning, that's an accomplishment. Just remember, not everybody gets out of bed in the morning. So we take that for granted sometimes. Awesome, awesome, awesome. All right. Okay. So we're going to learn a now structured tool to help you to find your purpose. It's called Ikagai. All right. And it's a tool that helps you, you know, with multiple structured dimensions and combinations, right, to help you find your purpose. And it's going to narrow your purpose. Think of it like a Venn diagram, because well, it is a Venn diagram actually, but and it's going to help you to focus your purpose, right? That's what Venn diagrams do. And then it also will tangentially help you determine what's holding you back. But let's focus on what's going to move you forward. All right. So Ikagai, the Japanese word is Ikagai. It means that reason for being. We call it purpose, but the Japanese look at it as you know, just reason for your existence even. You know, we like to look at purpose as, well, what is your goal, objective, what not? But you know what? The Japanese, that's why Ikagai is so hard to translate, because it is your reason for being. And one of the best examples they had was, and if you don't know this, Japan has the most number of centenarians, right? Which means those who live over 100 years. So they have the most number of centenarians there. And you know what? They interviewed a doctor who lived over 100 years, still practicing medicine over 100 years. He doesn't need the money, believe me. He just keeps wanting to help people, keeps wanting to heal people, keeps wanting to do what he does. That's his Ikagai. He's very clear what his Ikagai is, okay? So this is the Ikagai right here. So I want you to look at the 4 circles first, and then we'll look at the intersections, all right? So what you love? Well, guess what? I just asked you all that. What do you love? You all just filled it out right now, right? What you love. And then what the world needs. Some of you even filled out what the world needs, and what you love and what the world needs. If you combine them together, that's the white area of mission. You're mission driven, all right? So if you want to help disabled people and the world needs more technology that helps people with disabilities, and you love doing it, then you have created a mission, all right? The intersection of the orange and the blue is mission. Now, let's look at green. What you are paid for, and we put that because green is money, right? We haven't talked about that so much yet, but hey, if you're that person helping people with disabilities build cool new technology, and it's something the world needs, well, that's your vocation, all right? So it's a very specific job classification. The world needs it, whatnot. Whether you love it or not, it may not be that. But if you intersect all 3 of those, awesome, okay? And then finally, if you look at the pink, what you are good at. So let's look at the intersection. What you're good at, the pink with the green, what you're paid for, that's called a profession. You're so darn good at it. You're probably the best at it or one of the best. Well, you're going to get a lot of green. People will pay you a lot for it because you're so darn good at it. And so what I want you to do is when you stick to that, right? You know, I'd like to think I'm good at what I do. Am I the best? No, there's probably better, but people recognize it. I get paid for it. I'm good at it. But it happens to be that I love it too. So I actually have the orange, right? So orange and pink, if you look at those, that's passion, right? So I've got a profession, I've got a passion, all right? I've got I've got that. The mission and vocation. So what the world needs. Does the world need people like me? I'll argue maybe not 10 out of 10, but maybe a 6 out of 10, 5 out of 10. I don't know. Do we need leadership training? Do we need, diversity work? Some people say 10, some people say 0. I don't know. But I will tell you my top 3, if you look at each of these circles on the scale 1 through 10 for a total of 40 points, I could confidently say, I'm mid-30s, right? So what I love, I'm doing what I love. 10 out of 10. All right. What the world needs, if it's blue, maybe I'm, 5 out of 10. All right. Let's say somewhere in the middle. If you look at what you are paid for, well, I'm paid above average for what I do. So, it may not be 10 out of 10, but at least 9 out of 10, So, but if I'm fairly above average, then that's great. All right. And then what are you good at? I hope to think I'm good at this. So, if not, I hopefully am good. Hopefully that is the case. Otherwise, I have no business being here with Mesa, right? Because you have a very high standard. So look at it all. Confidently, I'd say I'm in the low to mid 30s, possibly the high 30s, depending on how you classify it. Okay. So I'm going to give you a chance now. Here's what you're going to do. Take a sheet of paper, draw those 4 circles. Okay. And you're going to rate each one on the scale of 1 through 10. And then what I want you to do is then start to think of actions for each one of those. All right. 1 or 2 actions for each circle. If it's already a 10 out of 10, it doesn't mean take no action. Why? Because it's like practice. Even if you rate yourself a 10 out of 10, you have to remind yourself, right? There are days where I get tired. There are days where I get burned out. Even doing this, loving what I do, because I'm burned out for other reasons, whatnot. I got to find a reason to keep recharging my 10 out of 10. Okay. And if I'm 5 out of 10, sometimes I can't change that. So that's what we're going to do here. So I'm going to give you this, build a worksheet just like this. All right. So all you have to do is draw 4 circles, intersect them like a Venn, and then draw, and then, put your value there. And then what I want you to do before you talk about your actions, so we'll talk collectively about actions. Can you all score your total score, anywhere from 0 to 40, obviously, and write that down, but also give a breakdown. So what we're going to do for purposes of this, let's go clockwise. Okay. So the top, what you love, let's call that number 1. All right. Or just put love. All right. Love. The second one we'll call needs. The third one is pay. And the fourth one is good at. All right. And I'll put it here in the chat box so you can all see it. And I want you to give your total score and then the breakdown of it. So I'm going to put it in the chat box here, total score, followed by, and go ahead and start rating yourself, right? Followed by what we'll call love, needs, what you're paid for, and good. So that's it. And then so we're going to see 5 numbers in the chat box once you're done. Okay. So total, you're going to put total score and then put love. What is it? 1 through 10, right? Needs 1 through 10. So I'll give you a couple minutes to do that. Take your time. And when you're all ready, some of you may be quicker than others, you're more clear than others. Go ahead and put your answers in the chat box, please. Okay, starting to see some scores trickle in here. All right, Mohammed 31, that's great. Okay, excellent. Okay, 28, pretty good. All right, at 31, but I love that the love is 10. And I love, you know, that you see love as 8 and 10, right? Because you have to live with that, right? Money comes and goes, but you can choose that. All right, well, I see Jeffrey, 6 love. Hopefully you find the love, but it looks like you're good at things and you paid decently well. Okay, all right. Ricky, 30 out of 40, okay. 26, 32, great. And again, you know, there's no absolute formula, but if you're in the 30s, you're doing, you know, pretty well. Okay, Deepla, 23. Well, we'll help you get that up, but at least you're doing what you love. Paid for 5 because you're probably a student, I'll bet, my guess, but who knows? But again, the zookeepers don't make very much money either. I saw Blake at 35, so that's a pretty high score. You know, I'm glad you're very happy. And again, you may not have the highest score now because many of you are students, right? So 25. All right. Oh, I got a 36 here. Okay, excellent. Hey, you know what? And again, pay varies, right? Some people are happy with 40,000. Some people are happy with 400,000, right? I mean, you know, if you're in a developing country and you're making 40,000, you're probably doing extraordinarily well. So it depends, right? Okay, thank you. 27, great. 31, 29. Okay, excellent. My goal is for you eventually to get higher. That's it. But it doesn't matter, right? I mean, some of you pay that pay area at the bottom. That's why we put at the bottom, because pay should be last in my mind. That's why we purposely put pay at the bottom. You know, love is what you can control. The needs, you cannot control what the world needs. Okay. Remember, think about it this way. The world didn't need diamonds 200-300 years ago. And then really in the 20th century, you know, De Beers and others started marketing diamonds as valuable. And now guess what? Millennials and Gen Z don't value diamonds as much. Maybe in you know, 100 years, diamonds won't be that valuable anymore, right? So that changes. But, and then what you're good at, you can improve that. All right. So that actually shifts. So wonderful. Okay. So what we're going to do now is I want you to look at this, and it's not always about focusing on your weak and low scoring areas. Okay. For example, what the world needs, I don't bother to justify, you know, I think what I do, the world needs, maybe it's a 5. Okay. It could be a 3 even, but I do not think it's higher than a 7. Okay. So, and I'm okay with that. I'm totally fine with that because I can't change the marketplace as easily, right? I can, but it's going to take a lot of work. So I focus on actually the other three circles. So what I want you to do is think of 1 to 2 actions. Pick the circle that you have the most control over. All right. And can you all list 1 to 2 action? Yes, thank you, Danielle. Lobsters used to be prison food. And I'm not sure which Danielle this is, by the way, because I think one of the universities had the panelist code. So there's going to be a lot of Danielle McNamara's, by the way, on this call at least. So hopefully we'll get that straightened out in the next session. But yes, lobsters used to be prison food. That's absolutely correct. now lobster is expensive, right? To add to that, since we're talking seafood, you know, many people love Chilean sea bass, right? And it's now fished to near extinction. Guess what, folks? And it's expensive. If you looked at it just decades ago, it used to be called Patagonian toothfish. It's all marketing. Someone just changed the name, but it used to be called Patagonian toothfish. No one wanted it, and it was actually, you know, it was very cheap. So all someone did was they called it Chilean sea bass, and it sells like hotcakes to the point of near extinction, right? All right. So can you all put one or two actions that you would do to change? And can you designate which quadrant it is? So if it's the love quadrant, put love and then colon and what action you take. If it's pay, that's okay if you're a student, right? You're looking for a job. Like, what would you do to look for a job? Or what would you do to change the perception of what the world needs, or whatever it is? So can you just put whatever the quadrant name is that we named it, love, needs, pay, and good, and then put that colon one action you do, because I want you to walk away with an action item. Okay. All right. Love that, Jeanette. First one to pop in. Understand why you love it. Love that. Because we look at love as some nebulous thing, right? But the more you can understand it, great. And even neuroscientifically, people say there's love, right? You're firing your neurons. But I'd like to hear from everyone. All right. All right. Good. What you're good at. Seek out challenges to overcome. Yes. Excellent, Ruby. Because you know what? Life is about, you know, going to the next level, right? It's a video game. You play till you end, right? It's like playing a video game with a timer, right? That's it. And we hope that we have a good timer and we make it to as many levels and explore as many you know, lands as we can, like a video game. Excellent. All right. What are you good at? All right. Excellent. Okay. And we'll wait for more answers to trickle in. Oh, and just in case some of you might be, oh, good. Okay, here we go. Explore different subjects. Yeah. All right. Excellent. Because that's actually what life is about, right? So we want difference. Be open to hear opposing views. Love that. Okay. You know what's interesting? You know, when I see something on media or social media, any of it, I actually go to the neutral source as well as the opposing source. So if someone posts something from MSNBC, I go to Fox News. Someone posts something on Fox News, I go to MSNBC, and then I go to the more quote unquote neutral sources, right? The CNNs, Associated Press, Reuters, BBC, right? So those tend to be more neutral. So then you get a balanced perspective of how the facts are skewed. Love this, all right? The feeling of calmness and happiness when you do something that you love. Right, that's unparalleled, excellent. Okay, because that's actually what helps center us, right? The clarity. And okay, be open to critiques and failure. Yes, I will tell you, if I got a nickel for every time I failed or was critiqued or needed critique, and my wife does it to me all the time, and that's why I love her, right? No one's gonna tell me I've got a booger in my nose except my wife, all right? So just to let you know, it's okay, right? If you got that booger in your nose and no one tells you, they don't love you enough. All right. So whoever can tell you got the booger in the nose, or we call it bats in caves, right? Presenters call it bats in cave and weeds in fences. Weeds in fences are spinach between your teeth. All right. So bats in caves, weeds in fences. If nobody tells you that, that means they don't love you enough. So go with that tough love. Okay. So we're going to wrap here in the last few minutes. I want to hear from everyone now. Uh, I'll tell you about bats in caves. Yeah, thank you. Good. And I don't know if this is the real Danielle or another Danielle, but whoever that was. Yeah, we've all done. Oh, real Danielle. Thank you, Danielle. Okay. Yeah, and I'll even tell you, it has not happened to me yet, but as a presenter, you think, oh, you're a presenter, things will go well, everything goes great. You know what, folks? I'll give you a couple of stories. Is one, the CEO of Bank of America, all right? I remember I was presenting a couple presentations before him, but I'm the guest and I didn't have any say. No one told him, by the way. He went on stage and he had his pant leg stuck inside his sock. So the whole presentation, his pant leg was stuck between his sock. I'm like, no one told the guy that? Like, you could have seen that. No one signaled him, nothing, right? I know a lot of employees respect him, but you shouldn't fear that, because I want you to think about this. If you have a booger in your nose or a bat in your cave, wouldn't you want someone to know, right? To tell you, it hurts, it stings to hear it, but I'd rather hear it than have that booger in your nose for an hour or a whole day, for Pete's sake. Now, I'll tell you, I have a friend, and as presenters, we actually have lavalier mics, right? Because I don't like podium mics because I like to move around, as you could tell. So, so we have lavaliers. We've got a mic unit that is usually belted in, right, on our belts or in our pocket. And a friend of mine, actually he's a mentor, 20 years older than me, so he's retired now, but he actually went to the bathroom and left his mic on. So guess what? The entire auditorium could hear him pee. All right. So just to let you know, it's, we're all here to learn. And, you want to be honest and candid. So in the last couple minutes, what I want to do, and I want to hear from everyone, I won't get to every question, but this is the best way, I always say, to honor the speaker, to honor Mesa, and have a good discussion. Can you all write one or more questions you'd like to ask? I'll cherry pick some interesting ones, but what's beautiful about online is that you don't have to raise your hand, and it's kind of anonymous. Well, not anonymous, but you get your question written down. So if there's 1,000 of you, you could ask 1,000 questions simultaneously within a minute. So can you all type a question that you're curious about, and I'll flag a couple of them, and then in the last few minutes. Most sought after quality in the workplace today. That is actually interesting. So I'm going to tell you, there's different things. Okay, that's been debated a lot, but survey says, actually LinkedIn and World Economic Forum did a study. I'm going to tell you this, and I'm going to even take that to the next level. Not only today, but the most future-proofed historically and going forward. LinkedIn and World Economic Forum did a study of over 50,000 skill sets and competencies. Here's what they found, all right? And I think they just released the latest one. I haven't read it yet, but it just got released, a few weeks ago, literally. So I have to look at it. But the number one, by the way, is communication, all right? 2 and 3 were problem solving and analytical skills. I don't remember which order. 4 was customer service, because guess what? No customers, your business doesn't exist. And 5 is leadership skills. Okay, so if you notice, nothing is super technological based. So those of you, if you're a STEM-based employee or STEM-based student, it's not about learning the programming language, whether it's C++, Python, Ruby on Rails, Java. Those come and go, right? In the 1970s, it was COBOL. It's the ability to think in the abstract, problem solve, and then communicate it well. Those last for a long time. So it's actually communication and strategic or critical thinking have endured. For executives, I'll say Challenger Grain Christmas. They're an executive level recruiting firm. John Challenger, the founder, said mental agility when he was pressed for just one. Mental agility allows you to adapt to almost any situation. All right. So that's definitely one. Excellent question. If we had to narrow it down, it's going to be what we call essential skills. I hate saying soft skills. When people say hard skills and soft skills, the soft skills are harder to learn, actually. And I call them essential skills because guess what? The essential skills last throughout history. All right. Remember, we didn't have computers, 2,000 years ago, right? But we did have a communication. We did have critical thinking. That's existed for 10,000 plus years, right? with humanity. So I want you to think about that, because the data actually shows that communication is number one. Critical strategic thinking. That is not specific to one technological based language. All right. Okay. And let's look at a couple more. Okay. So I want to actually keep emphasizing that you're all studying STEM. Half the stuff you learn in textbooks will be obsolete. They actually did a study. They said that those entering primary school, I believe this is about 3 as of 20, I can't remember, 2016, 17, something like that, 2018. But those entering primary school just a few years ago, by the time they graduate from college, 65% of them will have jobs that don't exist today. Can you believe that our kids, 2 out of 3 will enter jobs that don't exist today? All right. So what do you do to learn from a mistake? First of all, admit the mistake. That's the first thing. Worst thing you can do, I love that question, is deny the mistake. Those are the ones I don't work with very well. They usually don't last very much in my organization because they don't admit the mistake. I can't help them. I'm here to help people, but if they don't admit a mistake, then it can't go anywhere. So great question, because that's the first step. And if you think about it in a 12-step, right? If you don't know what a 12-step is, right? It's Alcoholics Anonymous, right? Drug rehab and all this. The first, I don't even know what the 11 steps are, the other 11, but I know everyone knows the first one. Acknowledge you have a problem or admit the mistake. That's one. Because if you acknowledge it, you know what that does? It makes you open-minded, which is correlated with what neuroscientists call fluid intelligence. You're open. Secondly is you're humble. So now you're showing you're not arrogant. 3 is you're showing that you're willing to grow because you've admitted mistake, that you're able to self-reflect and grow. 4 is you're showing that you're self-aware, which means that you have more emotional intelligence than others might. All right. And then what happens? Because you've admitted it and told someone, they can react 1 of 2 ways. They can help you or not help you. That's it. Hopefully they don't bully you, but if they help you, that's great. Then feedback is a gift. So a great question. That's what I would say. Okay. Is go ahead, admit it. And it shows those 4 or 5 things I said, and then they'll help you. Okay. So that's really wonderful that you have that question. So with that, we're at 11:53. I'm going to give Mesa a chance to close up this presentation, and then give folks a little break, and we'll be ahead of schedule, and we still answer 3, 4 questions. And so, can we all do this? First of all, can you all put in the chat box another big thank you to Mesa for putting this on and organizing it? Let's open with gratitude, close with gratitude. Want to hear from everyone. Big fat thank you. Awesome. And then can we start unmuting, because we're going to give a big round of applause before, and then turn it back over to Tom afterwards. So let's all unmute. I should hear background noise. Good, I'm hearing background noise. All right, can we all give big hoot and holler? Thank you. And if your roommates, your family, your friends think you're weird, that's a good thing, right? You served your purpose and you stand out. So with that, I'm going to turn this back over to Tom, and have a great rest of the conference. Please really appreciate Mesa. They don't do this because they get rich. They don't do this for fame. They do this for purpose. They do this because they care about all of you. So all of the Mesa volunteers, all of the Mesa staff, all of the Mesa donors, everyone cares about your future and the future of people who are probably not even born now, all right? Because Mesa's been around a while. So just know that. And I'm going to give one more plug. Even after you're done and you graduate from school and you're in a job, please come back, volunteer for Mesa. If you're in a high-paying STEM job, donate some of it back to Mesa. Remember, this is not all free. It takes staff time. It takes donations, right? Some of you who have been in an in-person session, it takes hotel space. It takes food. You're fed. It really takes a village. So really support Mesa long after you're graduated. So sign on to Jumpstart so that you can, also give feedback and be tracked as a Mesa alum so you can come back and help. All right. And I will tell you, I'm not a Mesa alum. I didn't even know Mesa existed when I was an undergraduate, but I am a fellow. I've had 2 fellowships, one as an undergraduate for diverse students, and then one as a postdoc, and both were out of the University of California Office of the President, whereas Mesa is held. So I'm not a Mesa alum, but I believe in the UC system. I believe in what Mesa does, and that's why I'm here. I donate to Mesa. I've introduced Mesa to a lot of corporations. It's not all about money, and I will give my time back here. So please, all of you, give back how you can. All right. I'm one person, but if there's 50 of you on the call, you can give back 50 or more times than I can. All right. So Tom, take it away. Thank you all very much. Have a wonderful, beautiful day. Enjoy the Mesa conference. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. And it's all yours, Tom.
Thank you so much, Fu. That was uniquely you and uniquely awesome. I really enjoyed it. Thank you so much again. I'm sure all the students, like we had no drop-offs. It's pretty spectacular. So real quick, I want to go over the rest of the schedule for today. We have at 1 o'clock an alumni panel with I believe 4 alums. And I think many of you are RSVP'd for that, but you can RSVP, or you could just join in without even RSVPing. So 1 o'clock for the alumni panel, and then 3 o'clock, we have 2 different workshops that you can choose from. One is on financial literacy, and the other is on tactical diplomacy. And then next Friday, we'll begin with recruiter panels. There are 2 panels to choose from, and the event pages will have the details about the panelists themselves. And then we'll have another session with a really cool company called Zymergen. They are a pretty new company that's combining machine learning with rapid experimentation. They're building, they're growing actually microbes, and they're doing some really spectacular, cool things. I'm not actually smart enough to fully describe what they do, but Zymergen is on the web. You should check that out. Folks from Zymergen are actually going to talk about the different pathways to build a career at Zymergen. They actually recruit not just computer scientists or engineers or whatnot. They hire people from all sorts of different disciplines. So some people describe it as a biotech company. They're an engineering firm. They do a lot of really cool things. And at 3 o'clock on next Friday, we'll have a session on technical interviews with VMware. Oh, no. Yes, technical interviews with VMware, and then a session on making great presentations with Uber. And then the following Friday, the 20th, we'll have the informational interviews. So if you've signed up for those, you should check your emails. We would love for you to confirm your participation as soon as possible. For those of you who are logged in through a direct link instead of going through Jumpstart, please sign up for Jumpstart. It's a platform that's, look, the functionality is not totally there yet, but it is a platform that we're going to use to present and provide many sort of career development opportunities like this. We did a small scale AMA session with a recruiter from Airbnb. We had a launch event. We also had, I think, at least half a dozen different internship and webinar opportunities posted there. So please do check in or sign up for a Jumpstart account. Fill out your profile. The filling out of the profile is really quite important because it allows recruiters to sort through and target recruitment to a specific campus, or if they're really looking for women engineers or folks of color, to make sure that they have a representative sample of candidates. The profile is going to help them do that. So please do sign up for a Jumpstart account and get into the Jumpstart Mesa community. So you sign up for the account, find communities, find the Mesa community. We're actually one of the largest communities on Jumpstart. request to join, and I will absolutely approve you. Just make sure that you show that you're a Mesa person. And am I forgetting something, Mindy? Or can we let folks go?
I'm going to jump in the chat window. If you have any questions about the Jumpstart platform or any of the instructions that Tom gave, my email is listed in the chat right now. Feel free to reach out, and we will make sure that you get the direct link to Jumpstart so that you can appropriately RSVP and we can answer any questions. We also put a session survey up. There'll be a survey for each session you attend. Please fill that out as soon as you get a chance. We appreciate it. And feel free in the Jumpstart window, feel free to communicate with us through there or through email, and we're happy to answer any questions.
And Eric from Mendocino College, I just discovered that you were an actual Mesa student. So I went to the request that you, from the Jumpstart community request that you submitted. I had rejected it before, but I've now approved you. So you're actually in. I think most of the students have dropped off. So I think we can sort of close this. Oh no, we still have 33 students on here. Okay.
The alumni panel starts in 1 hour. We hope all of you guys can join as well.
Yes, and then in the community, don't be shy about posting. We're monitoring that all the time. We'll answer your questions pretty quickly, probably within at least a day, but often within like the hour. All right, if there's nothing else, we'll give you time to go get some lunch, go take a walk around.
I'm gonna jump in. There is a question in the chat. Will we get information on the company we will have a one-on-one interview with? That is a great question.
Email me directly.
Yes, email Tom directly, and we can make that connection.
Yeah. So if you've signed up for the informational interviews, you will have already gotten messaging from me directly. So if you respond to it, I will let you know individually. No, use the platform. Use the platform, and I will reply to you. All right. That's it.
Excuse me.
Yes.
Thank you so much for hosting this. I was curious, will you send out the email, the Zoom link email again for the 1 o'clock workshop at 12? Or
who is this? Who is this?
My name is Kevin Crane.
What college are you part of?
Diablo Valley.
Okay, so as we said earlier, you should, once you log off of here, go to jumpstart.me, sign up for Jumpstart. Right? So
yeah.
That means filling out your profile at minimum, you know, your name, your college, gender, ethnicity. And then once you've established that profile, find communities and join, request to join the Mesa community.
All right.
Okay. And then I will approve you, and then you will have access to the community that has all the links to all the different sessions.
Okay? I think I have my profile created already. I got some help with that.
Okay, well then, if you go onto the platform and request to join.
All right, sounds good. All right, thank you so much.
No problem.
Yeah, I wish you the best.
Okay, so good luck, everybody.